Hundreds of thousands of businesses have already been fined. The Visa police is out there. Those fines start at $1,000. And we've heard of stories and read of stories as high as $25,000 to $50,000 on extreme cases. And payment processing and even SaaS and point of sale is still an unregulated industry. These businesses are trying to figure out, do I pass along a portion of that expense to my customer, or do I absorb it and build it in to my business model? If someone processes $100,000 a month, it's $3,000 right out of the bank, $36,000 a year.
Welcome to the Entrepreneur's Logbook podcast. I'm your host, Zachary. You can find me on social at It's ZachB. In each episode, I bring on experts from various industries for you to learn about their strategies and insights driving extreme business growth. Today, we're joined by Jimmy Moore, co-founder and CEO of FLO Business Solutions, a people-first fintech company that helps small and mid-sized businesses simplify and save on payment processing, POS system, payroll, and HR solution. Jimmy has spent over 2 decades building and leading sales organization across Florida and the Carolinas, helping onboard more than 20,000 businesses and managing over $1 billion in annual processing volume. He launched FLO in 2021 with a simple conviction that even in one of the most transaction-driven industry out there, relationship and transparency should always come first. And if that track record isn't enough, he's also an 8-year Army veteran, a 7th-degree black belt with over 300 first-place tournament wins, and a former championship basketball coach. To put it simply, this guy competes in everything that he does, and it kind of shows here. But Jimmy, it's great to have you aboard. Welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be here, Zach. I thought we were going to have some sparring sessions and shoot some hoops.
No, not this time. I mean, I've done Taekwondo a while back, but I don't know if I can get those kicks too high now that I'm getting a little bit older here, but maybe someday here. But
it's a pleasure to work with you. Thanks for having us on.
Of course. One of the things I always like to ask anyone that comes on the show, it is a business entrepreneurship podcast, and you've been around the block, to put it very simply. If you had to restart FLO, knowing everything that you know today, what's maybe the one thing that you would do differently that you feel a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners get maybe totally wrong here?
Oh boy, you did come out swinging.
Yes, sir.
I love it. That's what a fantastic question. I reflect on that sometimes. My partner, which is also my son, Brandon, and I, he's such a machine. And, we always learn forward. It's like a winner learn mindset. Let me just say, I'm grateful for what we've been able to build to date, debt-free, without taking on equity, without taking on investors, without borrowing money. And that's hard to move from zero to $1.5 million in revenue in a year or so, and then double it every year for the last 4 or 5 years. So we're grateful and thankful for that. There's a lot of pitfalls, right? 2 things stand out that would probably do different. One is the recruiting strategy, overall recruiting strategy. And 2 would be bringing on an operations logistics type Rev-Ops person sooner than we did.
Yeah.
So when I think about recruiting, when we started FLO, I was leaving a public company, Fortune 500 company, and I had some weird language in a contract around non-compete, non-solicitation, and that spooks people sometimes. So you're treading on thin ice sometimes, and you want to do what's right and honor contracts. I wanted to do right by people. So I was very careful not to go out and actively recruit early on. And we let things happen organically. When someone was unhappy where they were, or they were just looking for a new home, looking for a change of pace, better comp, better culture, better people, better product, better solutions, better flexibility, on and on and on. That happened, and that helped the organization grow in a way that we never posted job ads and went on these different sites and things like that. However, we could have probably went a lot faster if I'd have been bolder and taken on some risk, and actually we recruited and helped people. Because what we learned through that, Zach, people really just want a good company and a good product and a good culture and something they can feel good about doing and being a part of something. They just want to help people and have an opportunity for growth. And I regret that we didn't help more people sooner that really needed help. And
Right.
some of those folks maybe went in a different direction. I missed that window. Two,
Hmm.
the two Rev-Ops and VPs we have in the role these days around logistics and operations and systems and processes, Andrea and Eric, they're fantastic. Um, Gosh, if we'd have had those folks in the first 2 years, things would have been
Yeah.
so much smoother in every aspect of onboarding, of CRMs, of buying and selling processes, of
Yeah.
product solutions, of training and things like that. So, the we don't get do-overs, but we keep that in mind, and we don't want to make those mistakes again.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that, like, I feel like I asked this question to like everyone, but one of the thing is like you have to go through these motions and you have to learn. You can't just like do everything perfectly at once. Wouldn't it be amazing that we could? Yes, but that's just not how it goes. We fail, we learn, we adjust, we tweak. It's life, to put it very simply here, and everyone has a
Entrepreneur,
different path
right?
here.
That's the beauty of
Exactly.
it.
It's
What's next?
it's a roller coaster, the highs and lows, which is always an
Yeah.
interesting one here. But no, shifting gears like a little bit, because you obviously talked about the operation side of things, like people, but I'd love to touch a little bit on to like flow specifically, because you guys have obviously worked with quite a lot of people in like a lot of like different industries. But if you were to give me like a broader view when it comes to like working with any client company, they come to you, what's kind of like the process for like setting them up and making sure that first it can actually save money, but they have like everything rock and rolling to and ready to go here.
Yeah, what a valuable concept, right? How easy is it to become a customer somewhere? Because we're
Hmm.
buyers, right? We buy every day and we sell something every day. So,
Yeah.
I've always been fascinated by like why people do what they do and how they do.
Mm.
And the whole NLP programming of behaviors and the psychology of all of this. Um, we take a lot of pride in this model on how we interact with a person. You mentioned people first, people
Yeah.
technology community. So Flow first and foremost is a PTC organization.
Hmm.
Um, People first, got to have the right tech stack and solutions. And it's not company,
Yeah.
it's community because it's family and outreach.
Yeah.
And we want to make it easy. It's more relational
Hmm.
for this model versus transactional.
Yeah.
And that has its own limitations because you want to meet folks where they are
Mm.
and go at the pace they want to go.
Yeah.
And that's not always easy, wrapping around a new business or an established business and just courting them the entire way through. But it's pretty simple. We have discovery meetings. Number one is simple sales
Mm.
processes,
Of
discovery
course.
meetings, identifying what's important to that business, how they do things, what are their drivers, how do they end up where they are, understanding where some gaps are and some areas of improvement might be in a point of sale space, feature functionality over that way, might be streamlining payroll or HR.
Mm.
It might be processing payments more efficiently through a gateway or an integration. It might be digital marketing, helping them with their brand, their social media, their website SEO, putting up signage to promote Taco Tuesday or veneers half off or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of cool ways that Flow can help folks. And I'm proud of that. But none of that matters unless we understand what they really want and need.
Hmm.
Then there's an onboarding process. It's super simple. It's digitized. Then you go through underwriting. You build out the accounts. If it's a point of sale system, for example,
Yeah.
you build out the menu or the catalog.
Hmm.
Right? And this is what everybody in our space does. We like to
Yeah.
think we do it with white gloves because
Hmm.
it's truly customized to how they want it. Do they want
Yeah.
50 modifiers on the burrito or 1,050 modifiers on the burrito? Or what do they want in the catalog for HVAC or plumbing or healthcare or dentist office or whatever it might be? So,
Hmm.
getting that part right is crucial. That
Yeah.
catalog, that menu build out, setting the software for that command center to work the way they want and need. Um,
Hmm.
and then you review that with them, make sure everything is just perfect. And then you go on site and you install things, you test it, you train the staff, make sure everybody is understanding how the system works, how to process a transaction, how to ring out a
Yeah.
customer, how to run a payroll. So,
Hmm.
we're after the perfect payroll if it's a payroll solution. So we want to,
Yeah.
get that set up the right way because people have to get paid accurately and on time. And it's
Oh yeah.
very regulated. Payment processing, point of sale, bit of the wild, wild west. Lots of people in the mix.
Yeah.
Payroll and HR, Department of Revenues, Department of Labor, IRS,
Yeah.
a lot of regulatory involved. And then it's just ongoing support.
Yeah.
Pick up the phones, right? Pick up the phones and be there when folks need you. Goes a
Mhm.
long ways in a tech-driven space. We're in the AI business too. We have bots and things like that, and everybody's trying to figure out what to do and how to do that, right? But
Yeah.
we're gonna keep a human touch and a human face
Mhm.
to the tech stack. So
Yeah.
it's again, it's a good experience. We do it many, many times every day, every week, every month. We want to do more, but yeah,
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you want it to be a great experience. A lot of times
Yeah.
they've had a business has had bad experiences changing a
Mhm.
vendor or a provider. And if
Yeah.
someone can come along that cares, that wants to get it right, and there's 1,000 ways to mess it up. So when
Of
a
course.
mistake happens and something goes wrong, how do you respond to that?
Yeah.
And that in itself can further that relationship and that trust.
Yeah. And I feel it goes back to like your people first mentality again. Like, sure, like the people that work for you, you have like that people first mentality, but that also applies to the clients that you work with. Like, you want to be able to provide an amazing experience, be them for them. I mean, you mentioned like that, the phone, like pick up the phone. That's a very like important one as well. We want to make sure we're very people driven. We provide that amazing experience. And I know you've obviously onboarded like quite a lot of clients, which we'll touch on to a little bit because I have something about that I want to learn more about here. But diving a little bit more into like the specific side of things here. So obviously you've been in this space for a while. I'm a little bit new to it, learning a little bit as I go along here. But one of the things I hear a lot is cash discounting. It's coming up more and more, and I think a lot of business owners don't fully understand it, or they think that they're already doing it right. I'd be kind of curious to hear from your perspective, since that you've obviously seen what's going on there, what's actually going in the market, and maybe where do these business owners get that wrong?
That's what I love about you, Zach. You do your homework. You're a learner. You're out there in lots of different SMB and whether it's marketing, whether it's entrepreneurship, it's and you've probably paid a credit card fee or a convenience fee or a surcharge or been assessed some type of fee
Oh
to
yeah.
use your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover,
Mm-hmm.
Apple Pay, whatever it is, at a restaurant, retailer, online, utilities. Gas
Yeah.
stations have been doing some form of dual pricing for many, many years, cash price, card
Mhm.
price. So a lot of folks are trained and accustomed to that. It's a tricky web,
Yeah.
Zach. It's complex. Folks don't understand it. The
Mm.
card brands want businesses to do it one way.
Yeah.
Businesses want to do it a different way. So there's a lack of congruency there, and it's creating headache, frustration, confusion, fines,
Mhm.
and a lot of slippery stuff out there.
Yeah.
So, when you look at and what I mean by that, what the card brands want a business to do for to be compliant,
Mhm.
to pass along. But number one, there's two products. There's surcharge product and cash discounting product. So there's two different products that do two different functionalities. Surcharge is a program that Visa Mastercard allows that allows the business to pass along up to 3%
Mhm.
on credit cards only, not debit cards, on credit
Mm.
cards only. And that
Yeah.
creates confusion for businesses. And it can't be 3.5, it can't be 3.99, it can be up to 3% on credit cards only. So you got to get that part right. Then the cash discounting allows businesses to discount whatever they want. The average is somewhere between 3 and 4% when cash is utilized versus Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, other
Yeah.
forms of digital payment. Now, what the brands want a business to do, and this is where it gets um, tricky and harder to manage, is they want the price on the shelf
Yeah.
or the list price on a menu or a catalog to represent the highest price, including the credit card fee, whether it's 2%, 3%, 4%. A
Okay.
lot of folks will do 3.99% cash discount.
Mhm.
Now, 5 years ago, folks were just attaching that along at the bottom of a receipt. You
Yeah.
see a $100 bill, then you see 3 or 4% attached onto it. Now it's 103,
Mhm.
$104. They want you to list that $104 as the menu price and then
Yeah.
discount it when you use cash.
Mm.
Businesses on the other flip side of that coin, they don't really want to do that now. And sometimes they don't want to update their menu or their catalog, their digital, everything online to
Yeah.
represent the card price. So simply said, the card brands want a business to list the card price, the highest price as the shelf price online, in store, on the go, however it's going to be, and then discount it when cash is utilized. Now, there's 4 things the card brands want a business to do, and this is a great takeaway for owners. Is they want you have to get registered with the card brands to be compliant for cash discounting. And typically the acquirers or the processing platform will register that small business to be to be set up for cash discounting. And they want you to
Yeah.
give your clients a 30-day notice. And then it's got to be on your receipts. It's got to be
Mm.
listed on your receipts, somehow represented what that program is. And
Yeah.
lastly, signage, some form of, I've got stuff everywhere in my office here, like some form of signage that says we offer a cash
Yeah.
discount. And
Interesting.
then someone's compliant. Well, what's going on? This is very important to businesses across America. Hundreds of thousands of businesses have already been fined. The Visa police is out there. They have secret shoppers. They're going into places and they're assessing if they're doing it compliantly or not. Those fines start at $1,000.
They start at 1,000?
$1,000
Ouch.
when the business is caught not doing it right. Now they have
Yeah.
30 days to clean it up.
Okay.
And if it's not cleaned up in 30 days, then the next fine moves between $5,000 to $25,000. And it's all public
Ouch.
information. Gemini at ChatGPT at AI,
Yeah.
whatever your go-to resources are, Google, whatever.
Yeah.
It's all out there. So it starts at 1,000, and hundreds of thousands of businesses have been fined for doing
Yeah.
it the wrong way. Slap on the hand, we call it.
That's
And
a
then they have
lot.
30 days to clean it up. And if that shopper comes back in, Visa comes back in and
Mhm.
assesses if they're not doing it compliantly, they're
Yeah.
at far greater risk. And we've heard of stories and read of stories as high as $25,000 to $50,000 on extreme cases.
Oh
So
my.
this is very serious about
Yeah.
folks doing this the right way.
Yeah. There's 100,000 businesses. Did you say every year, or did I mishear that?
Last year, Visa reported on a call in the fall was 160,000,
Holy.
8 months ago. So I don't, I'm not being quoted on that. That's take that information, but it's certainly more than 160,000 8 months later.
Yeah. So if you imagine just being like a small mom and pop like restaurant, and then you don't comply, and then maybe later on you get hit with a $10,000 fine. For some people, that's maybe like their entire profit for like the next like month, like 2 months. So if they can just be compliant, they're gonna save a lot of headaches and money if they do it properly. But if they don't, that's
Yeah. It's
bit
worth
tricky.
for anyone that listens to this and everyone we ever talk with collectively, it's worth
Mhm.
them stopping and
Yeah.
pausing and considering what the risks are and what the rewards are and what steps they need to take or should take
Yeah.
to be compliant or assume the risk.
Yeah.
And a lot
That's
of
fair.
folks are assuming the risk. It's wild.
Yeah, they're gambling. They're hoping that it doesn't come to them, and they're like, oh, maybe I'll be fine. But you never know. You better be safe than sorry, to put it simply. There. And one area that I want to revisit though, because we talked about like the 20,000 businesses across like your career that you've onboarded, work with. At that scale, I kind of imagine that you start to see some like patterns like being repeated. I'd be kind of curious to hear if there's any like consistent or like the most seen mistake that you see small, medium-sized businesses making when it comes to their payment processing, or maybe even their payroll setup that's maybe costing them a lot of money. I know the compliance aspect of things is probably a big one of those, 160,000 businesses, but I imagine there's maybe a couple more of that are under the hood hiding there.
Yeah, great question. There's a lot of games and gimmicks out there. And payment processing and even SaaS and point of sale
Yeah.
is still an unregulated industry, unlike payroll, unlike banking, unlike insurance, unlike investments. There's no SEC, there's no
Mhm.
FDIC, there's no Department of Insurance.
Yeah.
The government is getting more and more involved to protect SMB. Big box chains, uh, larger companies typically have the resources to
Yeah.
pour into and not get burned, redlining certain contractual language, staying away from hidden fees, ambiguous, whatever it may be. and locking in the right pricing, the right support, the right product.
Yeah.
But even then, they're constantly changing, you know. So
Yeah.
it's I worked with the company that invented the cash register and then the digital cash register for a number of years, and we're looking at each other going, we should have this figured out. And we didn't always have it figured out because there's so many
Yeah.
new players to the game, startups. The biggest pitfall, Zach, is they're just not knowing what folks sign up for. We
Hmm.
see it all the time in the marketplace. A startup business, a restaurant, a plumber, a retail or whatever it may be, a dental office. They just didn't do the research
Yeah.
and learn what was available and what was right for them. Sometimes we see folks buy and select a vendor or a solution out of convenience.
Hmm.
Um, one of our biggest competitors, which, so many times our competitor becomes part of our ecosystem these days. Clover was a competitor to our company for so long, and then we became a Clover dealer 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Square was a competitor for so long, and now we can go to market and place Square, which is dominant across
Hmm.
America. But people have purchased Square and Clover historically out of convenience, or you know
Yeah.
Service Titan for professional services and Toast for restaurants, and it's in front of them, and it's a brand that is recognized. So the other piece of it is not understanding pricing models.
Hmm.
So getting the right pricing model
Yeah.
for your small business, medium-sized business is crucial. And that might be surcharging, it might be cash discounting, it might be some type of traditional pricing like Interchange Plus.
Yeah.
All of the large companies across America are on what they call IC Plus, Interchange Plus. It's wholesale costs set by the issuing banks and the card brands, plus a little markup to move the money safely and securely, Interchange Plus.
Yeah.
And so there's three hands in the cookie jar, we tell folks. There's the card, the issuing bank, the sponsor bank.
Hmm.
There's the card brands, and then there's the processing company like FLO, like Square, like
Yeah.
folks that are in the middle moving the money per se. And the part that can, and all three of those parts can be managed at a very
Yeah.
high level, by the way, and intricately. Lastly is avoiding like PCI and compliance fees. There's a lot
Okay.
of compliance fees related to security. The bad guys are getting really good trying to get into these systems, right? And
Yeah.
hacking into yours and my all of our information. Ping, 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 ping. And and it's crucial for a business to stay compliant, to be to be PCI certified, to do their surveys, to do their monitoring, to have the right partner, the right program in place to protect their business. And it is
Yeah.
not fun, it is not sexy, it is necessary and it's worthwhile in
Yeah.
doing so. Because if not, every single month they're going to get a non-compliant fee from whoever's processing their transactions. And
Yeah.
that fee may be $50, it may be $500. And it's all over the board. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to lose, a lot of ways to lose. And again,
Yeah.
but the other mistake we see is we see folks buy from someone they don't know and trust.
Hmm.
We see someone get in their ear because they're showing up and they're in and out of the business in 6 months.
Yeah.
And now they're locked into some kind of contract or some kind of product or piece of equipment that they're leasing or can't get out of. And it's messy and it puts a
Yeah.
bad taste in the industry's mouth. It creates uh, hardship for everyone in the industry because we're trying to clean it up, right? We're trying to go
Yeah.
save people, and now they've been burned, they've been robbed, they've been cheated to, and sometimes it's not even that salesperson's fault. They
Hmm.
just didn't know what they didn't know and know how to do it the right way. So it's
Yeah.
crucial. I always say to businesses, choose your trusted partner wisely
Hmm.
and vet them, get to know them, become a partner, and
Yeah.
serve each other because, if you're whoever's running a business's payroll,
Hmm.
they've got to get it right. Whether it's the quarterly reports, whether it's getting Johnny and Susie paid accurately and on time on Friday or Tuesday, whoever's moving the monies for digital payments from that point of sale or CRM or
Mhm.
a point of purchase into their corporate bank account, it needs to happen effectively, efficiently, at the right with timely, right? It needs
Yeah.
typically it's same day or next day. No, folks aren't waiting 3 to 5 days on monies anymore.
No.
That we see it sometimes, and we have to go in and help. Um,
Yeah.
and it's just you want to if you can find when business can find a long-term partner,
Mhm.
things just get easier. And one of the cool
Yeah.
things about this flow model, by the way, is one of the first things we did early on in the first 2-3 years is contract with all of the national platforms,
Okay.
8 or 10 different payroll platforms, 10 or 15 different benefits, 401k, pay as you go, workers' comp, et cetera, et cetera. So
Mhm.
we're reselling ADP. If they don't like ADP, we're reselling Paychecks. If they don't like Paychecks, we're reselling Paylocity. If they don't like Paylocity, we're reselling Flow Payroll, powered by ExecuPay and Venture and a couple of others. And if they don't like those, I can keep going. You
You got
see where you go? You
everything.
got red, big, blue. Um, that gives you options, and it's nice to
Yeah.
have options. On the payment side, if one platform gets acquired or gets hacked or is not performing at the highest level, you can shift that client to another platform. That platform is not efficient anymore or is somehow throwing in money grabs and
Mhm.
junk fees and things like that. We should
Yeah.
shift to the other platform. So when you're in control of that transaction and you have those options and that flexibility, you can always do what's right by the client, by the business, versus being held hostage
Yeah.
to proprietary technology.
Yeah.
And
Like
that's what
having
we want
that
to really drive it.
diversification is like pretty important here. And I mean,
Yeah.
and I know like a lot of people online use like Stripe, for example. Like they
Mhm.
love it because the convenience, everything like that looks amazing.
Yes.
But I know like a lot of horror stories as well where people just get locked out and they're like, what do I do? And then evaporates all at once. Hopefully that doesn't happen. We'll just knock on wood a little bit here. Uh,
But it
that's
goes
what I've
back
heard a
to
lot.
the point, Zach. Great point. They made it
Yeah.
convenient and easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a tech race. And
Yeah.
ISVs, integrated solutions, integrated software with vendors and platforms is the way forward. And because when you're if you're starting up a business, you're looking for to streamline it, right? You're looking
Yeah.
to streamline it. How many services can I put under this roof and build a
Mm-hmm.
fence around it? And one booty to kick per se, right? If something goes wrong, hey, I'm gonna call Zach, I'm gonna call Jimmy. He's gonna
Yeah.
help me fix this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
There's power in that for sure.
Yeah, of that. One of the things I was a bit curious to like hear your perspective on, because I know when we talk about like processing fees or anything like that, a lot of business owners they assume that's like baked in. It's like the cost of doing taxes, not taxes, cost of doing business. I was going somewhere with this because I was gonna say it's like taxes, cost of doing business. That's what my accountant says. I'm like, okay, you know what? We have to pay taxes. But when it comes to like the processing fees, like a lot of people just assume like, yeah, it's baked in. I have to pay them. That's what it is. But like good example for I have like a service provider that we use, and I remember like I was paying an invoice, I saw they added something else said extra fees for like processing. I didn't bat like an eye. I was like, okay, whatever. I guess I'll pay them. Like you're seeing that online, like some people doing them, like they're passing on the fees like their customers, but a lot of people, again, on maybe even like more like the local business and everything like that, they assume that's baked in. What would you say to that? And what should they actually be looking at to know whether they're getting a good deal or not a good deal here?
I think there's two ways from two lens here. There's the consumer, the buyer's
Yeah.
lens, how we're buying and what we expect and hope for from our you know people we patronize, right?
Mm,
Businesses. And then there's the perspective of the business owner. And they're not always aligned either because the consumer doesn't necessarily want to pay for convenience,
mm-hmm.
but we've gotten accustomed to
Yeah.
it. Anyone that's been online and paid a utility bill, that
Mm-hmm.
convenience fee is there and it's been there for a decade and it's compliant, done the right way. Um, and the businesses are just tired of
Yeah.
paying fees. We have a large portfolio of restaurants, for example, and historically the restaurant community and I've done business with restaurants for 20 years and been served on boards of restaurant associations and
Mm-hmm.
all of these things. And it's when they start up, they don't necessarily build in 2, 3, 4% into their
Yeah.
P&L. into their budgeting, into their business plan.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a, oh, snap. We didn't think about that ahead of time. How do we respond? Because they
Yeah.
want to do what's right.
Mm-hmm.
And restaurants operate on tighter margins, right? I think the NRA, National Restaurant Association, says the average margin in America operates on 7 to 10%.
Yeah.
I think Outback reported for a decade and a half, they operated on 3% net profit. I don't know what it is. I haven't looked at it in several years, but it's tighter than some of the other
Oh, yeah.
industries. So when you think about a 2, 3, 4% banking processing, payment processing fee,
That's a
that's tearing
lot.
heavy into the bottom line.
Mhm.
So they're looking at ways to keep their loyal customers, not penalize the loyal customers. Food costs are up, labor costs are up, workforce is a challenge, overhead is out. I mean, let's not get into inflation and all these other things, but
Yeah.
it's tough right now. And they don't want to necessarily increase their menu price,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of them are. There are a lot, and some of them even will build in the cost of doing business, be it payment processing or other auxiliary, other types of services into that increased menu prices. We've seen folks go up 3%, 5%, 10% to offset some of the additional overhead to include 2.5%, 3.5%, 4.5% payment processing fees.
No. That adds up pretty quickly, to say the
It
least
does.
here.
It really does. It's painful. It's painful. It's a necessary evil because,
Yeah.
you carry a credit or debit card, right?
No.
Probably both. You probably have a card that has rewards and Sky
Mhm.
Miles attached to it. Guess who's paying for those rewards when you use that card? The businesses, right?
Yeah.
So businesses they recognize that. They want you to use that card. That card has maybe a 2.5% to 3.5% cost attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hard cost that is set by Visa, MasterCard, and the issuing banks. So they have to figure out, these businesses are trying to figure out, do I pass along a portion of that expense to my customer, or do I absorb it and build it in to my business model? And that's why cash discounting is trending in a huge way. We're in Columbia, South Carolina, we're seeing at least 1 in 3 businesses have something built in that way. And in the restaurant space, far more than half.
Yeah. I can
And
imagine.
that's kind of the trend across America, what we're seeing. They're just, and do the math. If someone processes 100,000 a month
Mm-hmm.
and they're paying 3% to their processor, it's easy math. It's $3,000
You're
right
paying
out
a
of the bank.
full-time employee at the end of the year.
6,000 a year. So a lot of times someone that's, the FLO community will go in and say, Mr. or Miss Client, you're paying $3,000-4,000 a month.
Mhm.
Let's turn that into $0 or $25 a month for a merchant account fee and find some other ways to help people and do it compliantly. And that's very appealing to folks because that 20, 30, 40 grand can more than pay for a lot of other things to market their business, to expand their business, to better serve their clients, to offer more benefits to their employees and staff, which is so hard for these folks to hang on to from a recruiting and a retention standpoint. So it's tough out there for folks. And the good news is there's an abundance of resources for a small, medium-sized business.
Mm-hmm.
They've got to have the focus, the awareness, the ambition, and make time to go find the right vendors, the right partners, the right resources, and do their homework and get set up with best in class across the board, whether it's food vendor, whether it's utilities, whether it's payment processing or payroll or marketing, whether it's insurance, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
We've never had this much access to resources.
Yeah.
Like
With
you
AI
and I,
too, everywhere.
we can build a business model right now inside of 30 seconds and launch inside of an hour and be up and running tomorrow.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
wild how fast we can go.
I know. AI, even like with AI, now it goes even like faster, which is an advantage in a lot of cases here. But that's a story for another day because I could talk for hours onto AI. But just like wrapping things up, Jimmy, one of the things I love to touch on really quickly, because I know we talked a lot about like the payment processing aspect of things, FLO, but you've built a company, you led some pretty large sales team, you competed at the national level in like martial arts and even coach basketball to some state titles. There's like clearly like a through line, I would call it, in how you approach competition and like leadership, I would say. I'd be like a little bit curious to hear like how that mindset actually translates into the way that you run FLO, but also help develop the people around you.
Oh, that's a lot. Yes. you know, my lifelong martial arts instructor, Mr. Taylor, embedded this in me many, many years ago, and we continue to embrace and carry this mantra at everything we do in the flow community and everything I do in my life. It's a win or learn mindset.
Mm, yeah.
Preferably both, win and
Yeah.
learn, because it's more fun to win.
Yeah.
Discovered that folks enjoy winning. They want to be part of a winning culture. They want to be around wins. They want to go compete and win with grace, with mercy, with dignity, good, bad, and ugly. There's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that I think I would attribute has helped us along the way in this model 5 years in is meeting people where they are,
Mm-hmm.
understanding their why, what drives them, what they want, what they need, where they've been, where they are, where do they want to go. The folks that are our sales partners, that is crucial. The folks that are our business partners and or potential prospects and clients, that is also crucial because that's how we bridge the gap and establish rapport and connect with people.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, I like to, within our model, is bring energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talk about, let's get on the bus, right? Let's get on that energy bus. What seat are you in? What seat am I in? What's our purpose? What's our role? Do we need to shuffle it around a little bit and let's collab, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it takes a village. Brandon,
Yeah.
my son and business partner, always says it takes a village. And
Mm-hmm.
it does when you've got this many moving parts. We have to bring it in together for about an hour, 2 hours every Monday morning. Our leadership team jumps on a call like this. We look at each other. We talk shop. We have a
Yeah.
loose agenda
Okay.
and we know some of the important things we want to talk about.
Yeah.
And then I think, for sales organizations and the flow community it is a sales organization. We're a support and a tech stack and software and all these other things.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing happens if we don't bring in new clients.
Yeah.
So, we do a lot of sales incentives and contests, monthly, weekly contests, monthly programs around activities, outcomes, results. We just took 33 people to Cancun, to Mexico, had a great time for 6 days. They earned that trip the second half of last year. We'll do
Yeah.
it again. I think that's the third or fourth year we've done that. So I'm so grateful we're able to reward people for doing good work and doing it the right ways. And
Yeah.
some folks are very incentive driven. Others want the recognition.
Yeah.
Others want money. Others want growth and path forward, or
Yeah.
just to have a friend and a partner they believe in.
Mm-hmm.
All of those things are important. So I'll go back
Yeah.
to people first,
Mm-hmm.
always, all day, every day, really, all day, every day, people first. Then comes
Yeah.
the right solutions and tech stack.
Mm-hmm.
Then you do that within a community. And I didn't mention the Flow Cares Foundation is helping that outreach in a big way. It's a private foundation we launched a couple of years ago. We've helped just over 200 kids keep playing sports
Hmm.
because that's back to the competitiveness
Yeah.
of and the life skills and the character traits that are within all these sports. And then we did is community outreach, helping with national disasters and
Hmm.
as well as mental health and wellness as well. So I'm just so grateful for that 501(c)(3), and the best is ahead.
I love it. Well, Jimmy, we covered a lot of ground, to put it simply here, so I really appreciate you coming on the show. For anyone that wants to get in touch with you, that wants to learn more about Flow, where should they be looking you for here?
Just have them ping you directly and link us up. Thank you for teeing that up. I know I've probably talked a lot on this.
No, that's the goal.
Flowbizsolutions.com is the website. So when you go to flowbizsolutions.com, there's an abundance of resources on there. And when you go to about, you'll have our leadership profile, our executive team's profile there, to include my cell number, which is 813-476-5583. My email, which is jimmy.moore@flowbizsolutions.com. And then I'd encourage folks to follow us on social, Insta. Just when you just type in Flow Business or Flow Biz on Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we'll pop up.
Yeah.
And as always, #go with the flow.
I love that. Well, we're gonna put like all those in like the show notes. If anyone wants to go listen, reach out to Jimmy here, call him, text him, whatever they want here. But yeah, really appreciate you coming on the show again. And to your listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode, like, subscribe, comment, review, go reach out to Jimmy here. And then yeah, until then, keep pushing. See you in the next one.